Basically then, I don't know where to stand here. Welcome, and I'm Jeff, in case you don't know. Steve is here. And I'll be talking just about a quick... Yeah, you know, we both know. So, I'm going to talk about this really quick, and then we're going to go into like right on Facebook and kind of walk through some stuff. So I've done other seminars like this, and a lot of comments I got back afterwards were, you know, it'd be nice if you could step through and show us how to do it right on the screen. How do you do an ad and some of that stuff. So we'll try to do that. So, but first, real quick, because this is what I advertised, power tips for effective ads. Make your ad look like it's not an ad, and that might sound kind of strange. It is kind of strange, but since you're on social media, you know, people who are on social media are not looking for ads. But it's just like anything else. You watch a TV program, well, you get commercials, right? So it's kind of like that. But you got to, on Facebook especially, on social media especially, try to make your ad look more interesting and not so much like an ad. Because I think people have a tendency to just fly by it if they see it's an ad. So one thing is, and I've kind of, stock pictures, I've kind of gone back and forth on this, but I used to say never use stock pictures, but I think sometimes it depends on the situation. Sometimes they're okay. And with Facebook, if you want to do an ad and you don't have any pictures, you can grab, they give you free stock pictures that you can use. And you just click and browse and you type in a category and it'll show you all kinds of pictures you can use for free. So. Multiple variations. That's one thing about advertising on Facebook versus on Google Ads and other places is that if people see the same thing over and over, it gets, what they say, fatigued, kind of worn out. So that's one reason to use different variations, different pictures. You know, run an ad for a week and then run a different one and a different one. Or you can run 6 different ones at one time. Another reason is not only the picture you can change, but the heading and the title and the topic, because one topic might catch some people, another topic might catch someone else, another topic might catch someone else. So everybody is unique, everyone has their own experiences. So, you know, you're going to catch interest more likely from more people if you spread it out and talk about what might catch their attention. So, because one ad isn't going to be interesting to everybody. So, and then the targeting thing, we'll talk about that a little bit when we go through. But you can really target very well on Facebook. So, I mean, like geographically, demographically, males, females, age, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. So, 3 ways to maximize results and get noticed. Use emotional and visual words in the title, because I could probably do a whole seminar on that, but just keep that in mind. It seems to resonate better with people if it's emotional and visual. So make connections and friends and sell later. So yeah, don't try to be selling stuff right off your Facebook ad, because if people are not shopping, they're probably not going to be buying anything right then, right? Now that's, for some things it's a little different, like for a restaurant might have a special today or this evening for supper, and that's a little bit different. So again, it depends on the business. And then use retargeting, not targeting, but retargeting. And so that could be another seminar by itself, but retargeting is when someone visits your website and then you are able to go after them and show ads to just those people who have visited your website. So then instead of advertising to 100,000 people, you're advertising to 5,000 people, and it's way, way, way cheaper. And you know those people are interested and they know who you are because they've been on your website. So you can do that. You can do that in Google too, but so the retargeting is how people get, that's really how people get success when they want to draw people in and get business. Now, the other kind of advertising on Facebook is just kind of like the branding thing, where you just want to get your name out there. So, and that's what a lot of businesses just kind of want to do when they, when they do a newspaper ad, radio ad, TV ad. That's kind of what they're doing. Unless you get a car dealer that says, hey, buy this car for, like Tom was saying yesterday, they kind of get you in the door on the lease by having a really, really low lease, but then you read the fine print and you're at the dealership then. So they got you in there. So a little bit of some of those things are a little tricky, but so anyway, so let's go and take a quick look then at Facebook itself here. So that's my niece's dog. See more pictures of the dog than they do of her now. So, okay, so if you want to go to your advertising, you would go up to this. This used to be a little down arrow, but it's a sprocket. You see that? You see that there? Click on that, and then you go down here to create ads or manage ads. So that's one way you can get in there now and create ads. So remember that. If you haven't set up your ads account yet, this might not be here, but the create ads will still be there. If I go over to my page, my business page, a way that a lot of people probably do this or do ads is they just go here and then they'll go to a post and they'll boost the post. And I'm sure you've all heard of boosting a post. And that's another way to create an ad. Okay, so I can go, like, I can boost this. Like I advertised the seminar. I boosted the event, which is like a post. An event is like a post on Facebook. It's just a defined event. And I boosted it. And I can boost again. And this only says 13 because I was retargeting, I think, in that case. So I was showing the ad just to people who had been on my website. And then I switched it back again. So I was kind of doing it different ways. So this one I had boosted and I reached 1,100 people. This one I haven't boosted, but I could just by clicking that button, and then that would bring me into the dialogue where you create your ad. And so let's take a look at, if we go to the ads manager itself, and I have managed ads for lots of different people, so I'm just going to go to this one here. And so now I'm still on Facebook.com, but I'm in Ads Manager here. Okay, and I'm in this account. And these are ads that I've run. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the screen's kind of narrow. Let's see if I can scroll. Can I scroll over? Help, Steve. Oh, I bet you I could do this. Zoom out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see a little bit more. So it's a little smaller. Okay, now it's fine. So see these tabs up here. We've got campaigns, and we've got ad sets, and we've got ads. So I'm on the campaigns tab, so each one of these is a campaign. So it's different levels of settings that contain your ads. Okay, so you've got a campaign, and that can hold multiple ad sets, and the ad sets can hold multiple ads. So you could have 100 ads in one ad set, and you could have 100 ad sets in one campaign, or you could have one ad in an ad set and one ad set in a campaign. So it's kind of a matter of organizing things too. In the campaign, and if I go here, I can edit the campaign settings. And there isn't much to edit here. In fact, it doesn't even let you really edit much. The objective you pick at the beginning when you create the campaign, and you can't change that once it's set. So the objective of traffic means Facebook's system is going to go out there and try to show your ad to people who are more likely to click your ad to go to your website. That's traffic to your website. Other objectives are just reaching people. So if you just want exposure, you might choose the reach objective, and then Facebook isn't going to try to find people who are clicking, who like to click. They're just going to reach a whole bunch of people. And then it'll follow other parameters that you set. And those other parameters are in the ad set. So let's look at that. And this little screen goes back and forth when you edit. You can just go back and then it goes back to the right. So if I click on this one here, like I said, this is an ad I ran. I don't know when I ran it, whenever, March or whatever. Okay, so now I have 3 ad sets within this one campaign. So they all are the traffic objective from the campaign, but they also, now here I'm defining more, parameters to narrow down who I target to. So there's from the campaign, it's a traffic objective. I can set my budget here. So I had a daily budget of $5 a day, and I had set it to run, this is an older one, I had set it to run until that date. My audience here was Minnesota, people between the ages of 22 and 60, both genders. And I also said I only want people who are Facebook page administrators to see the ad. And then you can see over here how many people that is. That's 750,000 people within Minnesota who are fit into that criteria. Okay, and then the placement is where you want your ad to show. The feed is the main feed. That's the most popular place. You would always want it to show there. Instant articles is another variation of that. In-stream videos, they have so many things. Right column, if you're on a desktop, you probably don't even really pay attention to that. Most people use mobile. Most people use the phones to go on Facebook. When I see results of Facebook ads, 90% of it is from mobile devices. Maybe 10% or less is from desktop, and a little bit from tablet.
This is all under the boost? It doesn't look like the screen I've seen, but
right.
Maybe because I've done it on my phone, I don't know.
Yep, so when you do a boost, it's kind of a simplified interface to get your ad done.
Right, like I said, I've done the boost, but it doesn't look like the screen
and
I
then
remember seeing.
once you've boosted it, it's in your ads manager.
Okay.
So you can go there and you can see more details.
Okay.
But they just want you to create your ad as easily and as quickly as they can so they can get paid, whatever. Though they want to make it easy, which is good, but they just don't give you as many options when you're creating the ad that when you're boosting. Okay. Suggested videos, marketplace. You know what marketplace is, where if you want to sell a car or sell classified ads on Facebook. So, which does work. There's a lot of, and those are a lot of groups, Facebook groups, which is different from. You probably kind of know what that is. It's different from a page. A page gets followers and likes. With a group, you have to join the group and be approved. And a lot of these groups are around with, you probably all know about this side of it, but a lot of people are doing classifieds in groups. And now they have marketplace, and then that gives you access to all of these groups. So, okay. Stories is just another variation of a post. Now Instagram, you can advertise there too if you have an Instagram account. The audience network means that's ads on outside of Facebook, on other websites, and from what I've heard so far for the last several years is that it's a waste of money to do that. So I always don't do that. At some point it might not be a waste of money, and it may depend on the business, if you just want exposure, because you don't want to be showing your ads to a 2-year-old who's sitting on a tablet and accidentally clicking your ad over and over again because they like the color of your ad, and they're wasting your money. So And then Messenger, of course, is Facebook's text messaging system. You can show ads there too. So here you can choose which mobile devices you want. I always just leave it on all mobile devices. You can choose if you want it to show your ads only when people are connected to Wi-Fi. I don't usually check that. And then optimization and delivery. So this here controls who Facebook shows your ads to as well. Everything has an impact on that. So for landing page views, just like it says here, we'll deliver your ads to people who are more likely to click on your ads link and load the website. This one is set to link clicks, which means people who are most likely to click. And Facebook knows you better than you know yourself in that regard. They know which people in this room are more likely to click than other people. In fact, they could probably give you a list of, write down 1 through 15 or whatever, of who's clicked the most, who's clicked the least. Now, is that valuable? I don't know. Does that mean they're going to become a customer? Not necessarily. Maybe they just because they like to click on stuff doesn't mean that they're a good customer. So, and then impressions is when your ad shows. So they'll deliver your ads to people as many times as possible, and this is a variation of that where it'll just show. So one person will only see your ad once a day, no more than that. Daily unique reach. So you got all these settings, you can do. That's in the ad set. Okay. And then finally we get over to the ads themselves. So I'll just click on this ad set, and then it brings me over to this tab, and I have 2 ads in the ad set. Now it would not make sense for me to make 2 different ads that were exactly the same. So what I did here was I changed it a little bit. So let's just see what I did here. We'll preview this ad. Okay, that was my ad. This is a couple of years ago. And this is where you can change all of the stuff, including the image. And then this ad here, we can do a preview on both of them. Okay, so there's one ad, and there's the other ad. So I changed the text, I didn't change the image. I don't want to take a new picture because I look older, so keep the old one. Okay, now, if you want to change an ad, you click edit, and then it pulls this screen up here. And this is where you can change. This is the connection to the Instagram account. This is an ad. Okay, I'm still in the. This is where you change the image if you want to. You can change it. Here's the text. So you can change the text right here. I'm not sure why it's not letting me go in there, but it's probably too old. The website URL is where people will go if they click on the ad, which is my website. The headline is right here. That's this. And then the newsfeed link description, which this doesn't always show. It's not showing here, but if I'm on the desktop, sometimes that will show. It doesn't always show in the preview. Okay, and then tracking. I don't have the pixel on here, but this is where the retargeting thing comes in. So if people go to your website through this Facebook code, they will get tracked so that you can show ads to those people in the future. So, and that's a really valuable thing. So, another thing, since we were talking about ads, is setting up the pixel. This gets a little bit more advanced, but there's a spot here you can go to grab the code from Facebook to put it into your website so that you can track people. And then where your audience is here is for retargeting. A custom audience is what you would be using, and then that would build up as people visited your website. That custom audience populates and gets bigger and bigger as more people visit your website. And then that's a valuable audience to you because you know those people know who you are and they've been on the website and they probably have some interest in what you're doing or selling since they visited your website. So then it makes sense to go out to show them ads and to stay and keep connecting with them. So, yeah. Okay. I'm getting a little bit further out here. We'll just kind of keep it more simple and go back. There's a lot of different things in here. I mean, there's so much. Facebook keeps adding stuff all the time, and it's almost hard to keep up with it. But the ads manager, that's the main spot. That's where your ads are kept. Even if you boost a post, they go to your ads manager, so you can go back later and find them, and you can run them again, or you can change them, or stuff like that. So. What do you guys want to hear? Questions, or what do you want to hear more about? We got a couple more minutes. Let's see.
Tell me something about the pricing. How does Facebook decide how much they're charging you?
Yeah.
I mean, does like a picture or a video or those things or the links increase your price?
No, it doesn't really matter the kind of ad you have unless the type of ad, like a video, if not very many people are using it, there's less competition for that type of ad, so it might be cheaper. So the whole thing is based on an auction, just like the Google pay-per-click and the Google ads. It's the same thing. So as more and more people use the advertising system, the more expensive it gets. So it's more expensive now than it was 2 years ago. Google used to be really cheap 10 years ago or more when it started. Now it's expensive for clicks. But it depends on which click you're bidding on. It's all automated. In a split second, everything is figured out. And when someone does a search on Google, their system figures out which ads to show and who's bidding the highest and who has the best quality. There's all kinds of variables that go into it, and in a split second, it'll show the best ad, what it thinks are the best ads right up front.
Do you know statistics on the effectiveness of length? Like, is there a crossover? Like, 3 days is good, and 5 days you're starting to fade, or
yeah.
Is there statistics?
Oh, that's
out
a
there
good
that?
question because there's actually a statistic for it's called fatigue.
Okay.
Or it's not called fatigue, it's called frequency.
Okay.
But it refers to fatigue. So if the frequency is 1, that means everybody that's your ad is showed to has seen it one time. If it's 1.5, then like half of them have seen it twice. If it's 2, everybody's seen it twice. So once it gets up to 3, it's getting kind of fatigued.
Where do you see it?
Yep. And so see if we can see it here. It would be in the ad itself. Results, reach, impressions. So this one showed 30,000 times, and it reached 15,000 people. So right there too, that tells you that everybody saw it twice, basically. So if I don't see it here, I can. Let's see. Maybe. I can change the columns too, but I don't. The screen is blocked off, so I can't see it over there. Frequency 1.93. So, like I said, about 2. Everyone's seen it about 2 times. So I would say if you're over 2, start looking at maybe changing it. And don't just make a teeny little change either, but make it.
So you monitor that, you don't set that up ahead of time, or can you set it up ahead of time and say, quit running this when it's...
You can schedule it and say, stop it on a certain date, or you can put in a lifetime budget of $20 and it'll just, and say how much, and then it'll stop that'll still stop at the end of the right date. If you put in a daily budget and you don't put an end date in, then it'll keep running and then you'd want to watch it. So, and I do handle a couple of different accounts for a few different businesses, and so you have to watch it and see when they start
So there's a lot of variation between ads and industries probably for the
Yeah.
frequency and.
Probably, but still, I think when people have seen it a couple times, it's gonna probably.
Right, but I mean, how, is it traffic that determines that they would see it multiple times? Like,
By traffic, you mean, well.
well, I
it's
mean,
just
what
people-
determines, like, if you put out an ad and you run it 5 days, one ad is frequency's 2 and the other one is 1 or 1.25, what within that, I mean, is it just who's seeing it? Maybe
Yeah.
it's time of the week
Yeah,
or
because it's
something?
based on how
Right.
big of audience you've selected to show it to, and then how much you're spending.
Right,
If you spend $5 a day versus 500 a day, a lot more people are gonna
Yeah.
see it, it could get, so, yeah, so the budget and the number of people that you've selected to see it both play a part in how many people are gonna see it and so on. So, yeah, all those things kind of go together, but, another thing you can do too that I've started doing more is you can, when you're creating an ad in Ads Manager, you can do up to 6 different pictures, and Facebook will automatically create 6 different ads for you. But everything else in the ad will be the same. So then you got 6 different ads, and then that gives some variation. And then you can test and see, well, if one picture did way better and was shown to a lot more people, was clicked on more, then you know that's a better picture for you, and then you might want to keep running that one.
Could they rotate through them, or do you manually have to set that
Their
up every time?
their system will automatically show all of them.
At the dispersing at the same time? So
Well,
it's
to
not like-
different people, different times. One person is going to see 6 pictures right away all at once, but they might see one, and then the next day they might see another one. But their system tends to favor the ones that are doing better too.
Oh.
So if one of them is starting to do better, it'll probably show that one more, and that's and then if you can make use of that power, because that is powerful, you know, their system knows stuff and it's learning based on all the actions that people are taking. So then you would, you know, take that into consideration and maybe make use of that and maybe grab an ad that's doing really, really well, or use that picture again in another ad if it did better. So testing can be a really, really big thing too. That's more applicable probably in when you're trying to get clicks and trying to get sales and stuff, versus if you just want to get exposure. Of course that matters too, but yeah, I don't know.
Where would you go on there? It reached, 15,000 some people and made 30,000 impressions. Is there a place you can go to see how many times it was actually clicked on and they were brought to?
Yeah, the clicks and
site?
everything are all in there.
I'm just wondering, like, out of curiosity.
Yep.
How many?
Yeah, so there's the number of times it was shown. If I just get different columns here, like engagement would probably work. There's one link click.
Okay.
You get very many clicks in that one. So there's all these, here, I think, yeah, you can customize the columns too, and there's a whole bunch more fields you can do. So you can see a lot of data. A lot of data.
Jeff, I've probably asked you this before, but the difference between an ad and boosting, is there any advantage
Yeah.
to either one?
I don't think so, unless you're restricted on the settings by boosting. But sometimes I'll boost it just to be quick, and then I'll go into Ads Manager and you can still make changes there. So it's not, I don't think there's a big deal either way. As long as you know, as long as you have access to the right settings in the boost, I think you do, because you can go to Ads Manager.
Between the two, I think when you're on your feed and when I'm on Facebook, it'll say like a suggested ad. Is that more like when you go and post an actual ad as opposed to boost a previous post of yours?
Yeah, I see that all the time, and they'll just take a post and put it up there. Their system will. They want you to advertise more, so, and sometimes it's just a stupid post, and of course I'm not going to advertise that, when Facebook's suggesting I should advertise that. So, their system is not that intelligent, it's a machine, all this talk about artificial intelligence, and I just think I like to call it machine learning and not artificial intelligence. I don't think there's any such thing as artificial intelligence. I think they're so far behind the human brain that but that's another topic. But machine learning, it's a big deal. They know, computers remember everything. So if you can program it to do certain things based on all that data, and it's a lot of data because they're collecting everything. Everything you do, they collect, and Google too. So it's another interesting topic.
And does that track when they're liking and sharing too? Like, so that it'll keep spreading out, it doesn't necessarily have to go back to the main ad? So if they share it and then 50 more people like it, and then it's counting all those impressions too,
right? And the stats, I think it only counts the stats. It doesn't count the extra stuff that gets shared, although you can probably see that. You can see those stats. But I don't think they cheat you into thinking your ad's doing better than it is by counting extra stuff because it got shared. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. I read that once, but because I was wondering about that too. So, okay, I think I have to wrap up. Steve wants to get started. So, any other last quick questions?
While we
Well,
flip over the computers
Yeah,
here,
and just- let me just
ask
say-
questions, get more food.
if you do have questions, feel free to call me or email me. And then, if you would, this one sheet, I did give you 2 sheets here, and the second one is just a little info sheet, a tip sheet to help, a cheat sheet or whatever. It's got some good stuff on it. But on this one, if you would, on the bottom, just fill that out and tear it off and leave it with me. That'd be great. And then if you took notes, I'm sure you all filled this space up here, so you can take that with you.
I was taking notes.
Oh, good.
Oh, see, I wrote. Okay, I have to fill that out later.
Yeah. And since it's a break, you can grab some food, grab some more food, or candy.
You know, I was gone last night, so I just saw pictures.
Oh.
And so it was Big Bird last night, so it looked like they had a lot of fun. My daughter dressed up as Cookie Monster and he was Big Bird, so.
I love it when parents dress up too.
And they hit some of the churches and some Prince homes. And
to a different section, and now she's in the nursing home area. But we found out like 2 days before and this is the thing that bad. And then she used to weigh 160 and she's down to 100 and then she looks like
Oh, cute.
they tell us on stage, she's like, then she got the partnerships. But the two were so big, the two deacons to try and pick up. So,
Why you never only have one copy of your data.
that was because
All right. Going to go through a lot of information in a really quick manner. Just to get the information out there, we've got 20 minutes or so. Don't want to hold people here longer than we said, but I will be here as long as people have questions. So if you need to leave at 1, feel free to leave at 1. If you want to stay and ask questions, I'll be here, but I will go through this very quick. Quickly, I'm Steve Sadesky, Quality Computer Services, located here in town. Been doing this for 30 years. Seen a lot of changes, and biggest change is that the first 5 to 10 years the internet was fine, and the last 15 years or so it's basically a mess. So if you are spending time on the internet, there's lots of issues to deal with. If you are using technology, there's lots of issues to deal with. And everybody's using technology, and everything is becoming more and more technology based. Nothing is manual anymore. Everything is electronic. Everything is computer driven, software driven. And because of that, it's all hackable. So there's websites out there that have access to 73,000 home security systems. You can watch people's homes and businesses on the web. They just hack into them and put them out there for you to view. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and people aren't aware of how hackable their day-to-day life is. So I'm going to show you, and then after you're scared, I'll try to bring it back down a little bit. So
Probably was yesterday, Steve.
what had happens right here, first and foremost, the last result is that we're dealing with come on, pictures.
Is that my PC or yours?
That's yours,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's why it's slow.
Mine was, the display is too good for the projectors.
Oh.
Wasn't coming up. So, every 39 seconds, somebody somewhere is getting hacked. That's across the United States. It's been happening, it is happening, and it's going to continue to happen because they're making a fortune doing this.
And Steve, when you say hack, are they getting into your computer system? What do you mean by exactly by hack?
It's a breach of some sort.
Okay.
Whether it's stealing your email password or it's breaking into U.S. Bank and emptying your bank account.
Okay.
They don't track severity, they just track instances or occurrences. We'll go through a couple of the main ways people are getting hit. First and foremost, I'm sure a lot of people have seen Do you not have Office on here?
Probably not.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's try and
I
see.
need to talk to a computer guy about it.
I can get you Office. So, first and foremost, the biggest issue I run into are people calling me that they get pop-ups on their computer that they can't get rid of, telling them to call an 800 number, 855-250-9655, or here. If you get anything, a phone call, a pop-up on your computer, an email from UPS, FedEx, DHL, telling you that you've got a package that they need you to give them more information, don't click on it, don't call the number, don't do anything, because all this is a pop-up and they want you to call the number so they can then scam you into giving them access to your computer, and then it's all bets are off at that point, because the first thing they're going to do when you call them is tell you to push the button, turn off your computer, turn it back on, and then give them access into the computer that is basically fixed at that point. All you need to do is reset the computer to get rid of these pop-ups. They tell you to do that, then they tell you to go to this website, type in this code, they access your computer. They can show you all kinds of things in the computer that tell you that things are running and not running, and they make you afraid that viruses have shut down all these things, and they want you to then pay them $800 or $1,000 or something to fix your computer that never had a problem. So if you just get the word out that any of these pop-ups, just turn off your computer, turn it back on, and they go away and life is back to where you were before. And if you call them and you realize it after you've given them access into your machine, push the button, turn off your machine, unplug your internet, do something before you hang up on them. Otherwise, if they're in your computer and you hang up on them, all bets are off as to what they're going to do to your computer because they just lost a sale. So they want to damage your computer, and then they'll call you back and they'll tell you, because once you call them, they have your number to call you back. So they'll call you back and say, okay, you didn't pay us to fix your computer the first time. Now do you want to pay us to get the password that we just put on your system? Or they'll shut it down and not let you log back into it, so then it's more of a ransom situation than a fix. They just want some money out of you, and that's all it boils down to.
So say that again. So keep them on the line while you're unplugging.
Before you hang up or before you say, I'm not going to pay you, unplug your internet, turn off your
Pretend like
router.
you're still a potential customer.
So that they don't damage your machine, because as soon as you hang up, they're going to put a password on it, they're going to wipe out your data, they're going to do something, and then call you back and see if you'll pay to get your computer working again.
Is it even worth trying to report that kind of stuff, Steve, or is it just because they've been changing their numbers now too, where it looks like a cell phone number?
Any of those phone numbers that you see that I copied from a month ago, you call them now, they're disconnected.
Right.
And they're not in America to even have our local police, FBI, track them down. The only thing that they can do is some of them are so bad that the FBI will get involved and actually take over a server that they're using and shut that down, because they can track where things are coming from. And there was one where they were redirecting, they basically hacked the DNS system, which is Dynamic Name Services. When you say you want to go to Google, it says you go to a DNS server, Google is then changed to a series of numbers, and it's found on the internet. They hijacked the DNS servers so that no matter where you wanted to go, they could send you to their own server. And the government had to step in, shut down that fake server, and put in their own temporary server just to keep the internet running, because there were millions of people that were hacked and going to this false DNS server. So rather than having all those people lose internet until they figured it out, they just basically took it over and ran it and sent you to where you wanted to go, not to where these other people were sending you. And that boils down to what Jeff was talking about, where it's all advertisement. If they can send you to a fake website, and that fake website is getting 10 million hits a day, now advertising on that website looks really good, and people will pay to advertise there even though it's not real traffic. And then they figure out that nobody's there for more than a split second, because they go there and they're like, I don't want to go here, and they research and go someplace else. So your ad is basically never seen, but you're paying these people, and that's why they do that redirecting stuff, just to get more people, more traffic to their website. Then you go into, I'll just always use WordPad.
Oh, I'm still on Word 2007, so, or something.
I don't think you have Word at all.
Oh, I don't have Word at all.
So basically the other side of it is when they send you the emails and they're trying to hack in with the stuff on there. Big items there are with the holiday season coming up, you're gonna get emails from UPS, from FedEx, from DHL, from all these places saying, we've got a package for you, but we need more information to deliver it. Click here to give us a delivery time or something. You click that box, you get a virus, and that's a huge one at this time of the year. What they do a lot also is the newest thing, because they want to get into companies' networks. So they'll find the CEO, the boss email address, they'll create another account someplace that's only a letter off, or they'll have a dot in there instead of just all one word, and start emailing people within the company from this look-alike email account saying, we're making changes, do this, do that, click here, or whatever, and people fall for it because it's their boss sending them this email. They just look at it and they don't look close enough to see that it isn't really that person. Then they get access into the network, and then once they have one machine on the network that they can get into, they can get into everything. And that's the scary part, is that they only need to get that one person. In a company of 50,000 people, you get one person to make a mistake, and they've compromised the firewall and all the protections and all the things that people put in trying to keep them out. So it's really, the only real fix for this is education, because you have to have the right people knowing the right stuff in order to keep your network safe. If you have anybody that's doing something they shouldn't be doing, that's just clicking on everything because they're curious, they're going to compromise everything else that the company pays millions of dollars to protect all this data. One crazy person in the mix messes it all up, and I've got another slide to show you on that one. It's a great one. I love this one. But this is a quick video that just wanted to show. Can you hear it okay?
How safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently? It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school. What kind of dog do you have? I have a Chihuahua Papillon. What's his name? Jameson. Jameson. And where do you go to school? I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. What school? Dakota Area Senior High School. Oh, when did you graduate? In 2009. Like my cat's name and then just like a random number. Okay. So you've had this cat for a while? Yeah, she's my childhood pet. Aww. What's her name? Her name is Jolie. Jolie. So like a password, you're going to be Jolie and then a number. Yeah. Like number 1? Like my birthday. Oh, when is your birthday? June.
Oh my gosh.
95. Oh, great. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95. Got it.
Need my password right now? No, I can't do that.
But we all want to know what it is so we can tell you if it's strong or not.
Oh my goodness. Let me think. Okay, one is Tel Aviv. Yeah. 4, 6, 8, and then Israel. It's only 3, but it's for me it's strong enough. Ireland. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gemma. 1, 2, 3. Spelled G-E-M-M-A.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so
Like what's a good Italian password?
my grandma's name,
What's your grandma's name?
Maria.
Maria. So Maria is your password?
Oh yeah, now you know my password.
So it doesn't, it's not always obvious. It's not always somebody in a ski mask trying to rip you off. People don't think that random people are looking for information. And my number one issue with Facebook is all of the surveys. When you get a survey that says, how well do you know your Facebook friend? And they want to see if you know your Facebook friend's date of birth, where they went to school, name of their dog, parents made it, it's like, number one, nowhere in your Facebook profile do you list all that stuff for them to even tell the people if they're right or not. But when you're answering all these questions about Facebook friends, you're telling somebody all of their personal information, the stuff people use for their passwords. And that's what they're doing. They're fishing for information. It's not like you're going to win some prize because you knew all the right answers. It's just you're going to get some little thing saying, yeah, you know so-and-so very well, great way to go, you're a good friend. And, you're not a great friend because you just gave away all your information. So that's the big issue you have to watch out for, is that a lot of the rip-offs look very innocent. And you don't realize you're giving information away that's very, very critical. What it boils down to is that data breaches are a constant thing, and why they keep doing it is, this is from basically 2 weeks ago, they compromised 4.5 billion records in the first half of the year. So if you look at the rest of the year, you're looking at somewhere around 9 billion, 10 billion pieces of information that were compromised. US is definitely the biggest target, with 50% of all the breaches happening and 72% of all the records that are being stolen being within the United States. That's the scary part, is we are the target for two reasons. Number one, we've got a lot of people that are online, more so than other countries, and we probably live in a very sheltered existence in America, that we don't feel threatened, that we don't feel like we're being attacked, that we don't feel like people are out to hurt us, where other countries that are living in constant turmoil, they tend to be a little bit more suspicious and protect themselves a little bit more. So basically it boils down to few things you can do to help yourself be a little bit more safe. Incorporate a cybersecurity specialist into your team. Keep all business and personal accounts separate and encrypt all your data. That there is huge, and very few people do it. Encrypting your data is the only answer, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but it's the strength of your passwords and a good antivirus program, and then not giving your passwords away to people on the street is a very good thing too. But encrypting your data, I can get into any computer in a matter of less than half an hour. If all you have is a password on it, I can get into it. And part of my business is doing that for people, because I've had people where their son, their husband, their wife, their parents pass away, their computer is locked with a password, and nobody around knows that password to get into this person's computer, and they're wondering what the person had on there, if they have information for life insurance, if they have things that they need to know, and I can get into these machines unless they're encrypted. If they just have a password,
How do you encrypt it?
if you have the professional version of Windows 10, it's built into when you can energize encryption on any professional version. Windows 7, it has to be the enterprise version. At Home and Pro and 7 doesn't do it, or you get a separate encryption program.
But I don't even have a password on my computer to get into my computer because nobody's around. That's not the most security.
And if you don't have a bunch of information on there, You know, it's a matter of how secure your
But are you
laptop.
talking about also encrypting
Encrypting
other stuff?
Encrypting the entire drive so that all the data on your machine is behind this encryption key.
Oh, so that's safe from even hackers on the internet?
No.
I see.
And then if everything is encrypted, I can't go in there and bypass your password because it's an
Does it slow your
encrypted.
system down though?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No, not if it's especially if you're doing, yeah. If you're doing Windows 10 Professional and you use the built-in encryption, it really doesn't slow you down at all. If you go to an outside third-party software, you've got another program running, and it might affect your performance slightly, but not anything that's really going to be noticeable. But what that allows you to avoid is when you start looking at things with in the ransomware, and what they do is these ransomware companies, they put these viruses out and they're getting $600,000 to $700,000 to get your data back, and they're making millions up to $1 billion a year by hijacking your data. And what they do is they put a virus on your computer that encrypts everything on your computer. So if you encrypt it first, they can't re-encrypt it. So, but if they do encrypt it, you can't get it back without paying them, and less than half the people that pay them actually get their data back.
Is this encryption kind of new?
No.
Because I've never heard this before.
And
That you
it's
can
because
encrypt.
encryption hasn't been an issue until the last 10 years when all this kind of stuff has been hitting the streets. But
Well, I know what encryption is, but I didn't know that Windows had the application.
And that goes,
to
you know,
do that.
anybody that saw the, what was it called? Imitation Game movie, where they're trying to break the Nazis' code, and you know, it was the encryption changed every 24 hours, so they would basically get the first code. They had 24 hours to try to break that code. Next day, they'd get the first code. They had 24 hours to try to break the code. If you encrypt your data, it is secure unless somebody has the key to unencrypt it. And if you have the key, and it's not, you know, Maria, it's a key that's generated when you encrypt the data, and it's a long series of numbers and letters, and that is something you then save onto a flash drive and you lock it away someplace, because if you ever lose the key, you're locked out of your computer. And that's the problem, is that encryption is great unless you don't understand what you're doing and how you need that key, because people will forget where they put the key, forget, you know, that they even had a key, and you have to restart their machine, reload their programs, and you can't without the encryption key. So
When you turn that on your computer, does it take a long time to encrypt everything then?
no, it goes through.
Does it rewrite all the files?
It encrypts all the files, and it takes, for a normal machine, they'll encrypt everything in 10 to 15 seconds. It's just done.
So do you have to continue to use that key like every time you log in, or from that point you can just log in?
You get the key, you store it on a flash drive, and you can embed it in the computer so that it's subject to you logging in with a password.
Okay.
So you give it a password and it says, okay, you're allowed to use this unencrypted. If you don't get the right password, it keeps everything encrypted. And that's where, if it's encrypted, my way of getting around it, I pull the drive out of the machine, plug it into my machine, I go into the back door, change one little option on the Windows file, plug it back into your machine, boot it up, and it boots up to the DOS prompt. I tell it to change the password to whatever I want it to be, and the password is changed. So that's how you get around it, but if the drive is encrypted, I can't go in there and make that change.
This is new on Windows 10 though? Windows didn't have it before?
Windows has always been able to be encrypted, but you had to have the Enterprise Edition of 7.
So it's kind of new for the general public.
For the general public, it's, you know, it's been in the business world a lot, just because the businesses have to protect
So
their
you
data.
recommend that all of us do that, right?
The biggest thing would be if you encrypt your drive, they can't.
And
Because-
all of your drives, all of your hard
Yep.
drives that you have.
Where do you go to do that?
That's in, on Windows 10 Professional, it's called BitLocker, and it's built into Windows. And if you just go to Start down here and type in BitLocker, it will bring it up and show it to you. And then you can turn it on and energize it, but you have to have 10 Professional, or you have to, if you don't have that, then you either upgrade from 10 Home to 10 Professional, or you go out and buy a drive encrypting program, and there's quite a few of them out there. But that is the only real way to protect yourself, because they're constantly getting this out there, hacking into businesses and charging them this enormous amount of money.
If you have this, then you don't need virus protection, right?
Viruses are different because they're not attacking your files and encrypting your data, they're messing with your operating system and stuff like that.
Well, your operating system's encrypted if your hard drive's encrypted.
It is, but it still, once you're using it, it's unencrypted, and you still need
So
the
then
virus
do you
protection.
recommend, is the Windows Defender or whatever it is that okay? for-
Windows Defender is as good or better than any of the cheap
built
ones
in.
out there.
Okay.
If you're gonna pay for one, Norton and Bitdefender are your two that you're
But
worth
you don't
paying
need,
for.
you don't have to, you're
No.
okay with the Windows one?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Because what the good thing is that as these, because this is the Gand Crab encryption virus, this one just recently got decrypted. So I've got a flash drive in my office that has, I think now, 12 different keys that if you happen to get one of these encryption viruses, if it's one of the ones that has been decoded, I can unencrypt your data. If it's a newer one and they haven't beaten it yet, then you're stuck, but don't throw your data away. And that's something some people do. They just wipe their machine out, delete everything because they can't use it anymore, and they start from scratch. That's perfectly fine because it's the only way to use your computer again, but the best bet is to spend $50 on a new hard drive, take your old drive out, reload on a new drive, and if and when that virus gets beat, you can unencrypt all your data and get back all your pictures, all your documents, all your stuff that you had, because they are constantly working on beating this encryption. And every 6 months, every year, they come up with another one that they've cracked into, and you can get those drives cleaned up, but then they are then infecting with something new, so the new people are getting stuck. And what that brings you to is backing up your data so that if they do give you a virus, you don't lose everything. And this is my favorite little backup drive because it's got a keypad on it to unlock it. So if you happen to, store all your data on there and somebody steals it, they can't just plug it into their machine and read your data without typing in the code to unlock the external hard drive.
What's your code?
It's my birthday.
What's your birthday?
I was born in August.
What day am I?
You gonna send me a card? No, but it's $300 for a 2 terabyte drive. You can buy a 2 terabyte standard drive for about $100. So it is definitely more expensive, but it gives you the ability to have the peace of mind that it's locked up and your data is secure. For some people, all they want is something that they can make another copy of their data. They don't want to lose their pictures, they don't want to lose their stuff. Then all you want is a basic drive that you can get another copy of your data. If you're storing business data, sensitive documents, things that you don't want out there, this is a great solution for that. If all you want is to not lose pictures from your family vacation and documents, then just spend $100 on a basic one and do it that way. But that's the key, is to back up your stuff in one way, shape, or form. Here's the one I mentioned. We're getting a little short on time, but I wanted to show you this one about it only takes one bad person. One guy in the U.S. Geological Service out in South Dakota spent his day watching porn and infected the entire government's network. But they kind of swept that one under the rug because they were embarrassed by it, but it happened. So the guy got fired, and basically they're now, you know, doing what they're supposed to do. And this piece here where they talk about a strong blacklist policy of known unauthorized websites and a regular monitor of employee usage. The blacklist is the way antivirus stuff used to run, where you say all of these known virus sites are not allowed to go to. The newest thing is what they call a whitelist, where you create a list of websites that your people can go to. So if they can go to, you know, say it's a banking facility and you want your people to be able to go to the other banks in town, the other things in town, you're fine. Anything outside of what you list, they try to go there and they're refused access to those websites. If it's something that they deem is necessary, they can put a request in, and the IT people can put that new website in the whitelist, and they now have access to that site. But you can lock it down to where they have access to one website, and that's it. And they can never go anywhere else. And that's the newest way of treating the internet, because just because you put all the known bad stuff on a blacklist, they're making new bad stuff every day. And the blacklist is being updated only when something bad is found, and it's found by somebody getting stuck. And if you don't want to be one of those people getting stuck to prove that there's a new bad site out there, then you go to a whitelist and you just have places that you can go to, not places you can't go to. And we'll try to keep it short and sweet here. One last little piece to be aware of. There was recently a helium leak in a hospital, and all of the Apple devices broke because they run on a crystal clocking. And when the helium expanded throughout the hospital, changed the density of the air, the crystal clocking didn't work, and all the devices shut down. Just little weird things that are out there. The more technical, the more electronic, the more everything we get to, the more of this kind of stuff you're going to have happen. You know, everybody's basic Timex watch kept right on ticking. If you had an Apple Watch, an Apple iPhone, an Apple iPad, and for whatever reason it was only Apple products that were affected. Android phones didn't lose any of their stuff, laptops and desktops didn't lose, but anything Apple, for whatever reason, the type of clocking they use was more sensitive to a change of pressure. So weird things like that. And then just to keep things on a light note, we'll hit this real quick to finish off, and then I'll answer any questions. But I like this as a way to deal with stress.
Oh, yeah.
So,
When he's tired, that's okay, but wait until he's active.
but
That's good.
there's such, my day is just one problem after another. I deal with the emergencies from 6 a.m. till 2 in the morning, and I am just constantly dealing with this weird stuff and reading researches, and it's amazing to me what's out there that like Jeff, you just mentioning encryption is a new thing, and it's like, well, no, but yes, encryption's been around forever, but it's a new thing to the general public because it's never had to be imposed on home computers because it wasn't such a risk, but now it's the number one defense against all this junk because they're trying to encrypt your data to charge you to get it back. You can beat them to the punch and encrypt it before them and protect
That
it.
happened to my brother's architect in Grand Forks, and he a few years back, but they locked up all his, he had to pay a few grand or so to get it back.
And luckily he got it back. A lot of people pay and never get it back.
It's
And
not a
that's,
trustworthy person offering
yeah,
this
it's
deal.
when you're
don't know.
when you're paying a crook to get your data
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
and they get the money before you get the data. It's kind of like the old
Yeah,
give me the money, give me the briefcase, give me the money. You have to pay and then hope they send you the key
Hope you
to.
get a nice crook.
Yeah, an honest crook would be
An
good.
honest
What's
So-
the point of all these Facebook hacking things that have been going on? I mean, a bazillion people saying, oh, my account's been hacked.
That's all just back to them trying to steal personal information.
Yeah.
Because they'll create another account in your name, try to refriend all of your friends so that they can see their birth date, hometown, all their information that they put into Facebook, because you can only see that if you're a friend of theirs.
Okay.
So they either
they're
hack
personal.
your account to look
Yeah.
into their personal information, or they create a new account and get people to refriend it, because they'll steal your picture off of your account and your name off your account. And if you type your name into Facebook as a search to look for somebody, you might see that there's 3 accounts with your name and your picture on it. And you have to then, I've dealt with it with a number of people, and you tell Facebook that these are fake accounts, and you go through and you tell all of your friends that there's fake accounts out there and you're not making a new one. Don't
And I
refriend
think-
me and all that
I
stuff.
think what most people think is that somebody got their password and logged
Mhm.
into their account, but they're not even doing that. They're just creating a new account and just grabbing your pictures and
People
stuff.
think, oh, they must have got
All
locked
public.
out of their account or something, so they just
Yeah.
created their account again, so they accept the new friend request, and now all of a sudden, that person has access to all of the more secure features of their profile. Because if you just go to my Facebook page, you can see Steve Sadesky. If you're my friend, you can see where I went to school and my birthday, which is my password. And so that's what they want, is they want more information about people. And they hack email, they hack Facebook, they hack everything they can hack to get more information about people to use it in whatever way they want, whether it's just for advertising purposes or to actually rip you off or to steal your identity or any of that. The IRS got hacked, and the next year when I filed my taxes, they were already filed. And now I get a PIN from the IRS every year, and I have to put this PIN on my tax return to prove that it's me, not this other person filing under my name. I had a slide up here too that I didn't get to show, but at the World Series this year, a guy went to Game 2 in Boston, scanned his ticket, it was already used. He had taken a picture of his ticket and put it on Facebook that he was going to the game. Somebody took the picture off Facebook and remade a duplicate ticket, went to the game and got in before he did, so he had to buy another ticket at the door to get in. And when they went and checked the seat, the person never sat there because
They were just in.
they just got the ticket to get in, and then they walked around and they were at the game and they could stand wherever they wanted to stand, but they never made the mistake of going and sitting in the seat. So You know, and if you do that, if you want to post that you're going to, you know, if you get front row tickets to Hamilton and, you know, people don't take a picture of the ticket. You can take a picture that shows what you're going to and the date that it is, but they have barcodes and they have QR codes and things that they scan. That's what you have to cover with your thumb or not even include in the picture. Just show the part of World Series Game 2.
But tell afterwards, not before you go.
Right,
Yeah.
so they know
Look
your
where I
house is
was.
empty
Yeah,
and
and that's the other thing,
around
yeah.
your house.
Yeah, I'm at the game, so my house is empty. It's like, great, you know.
Yeah, we're leaving for a 3-week cruise.
Yeah. Can't, you know, we're at the airport, nice, way to go. And those are the posts that people do all the time. And it's like, why are you telling everybody? Because not just your friends can look at your post like that. If I type in your name, I can see the stuff, some of the stuff that you
As soon as your friends like
posted.
something,
Mhm.
and they're all there.
And then it's spread, so it's like, oh, so-and-so's out of town. And that's the scary part of those 73,000 home video systems that are on the web. If you can log in there and see when people are coming and going, you now know that they're never home from 8 to 5. And and the scariest part is that there's a map as to where these cameras are.
So is it all a certain camera or?
It's all different kinds of cameras.
Oh.
So like baby monitors and
Yeah.
little cheap, you know, home security things off Amazon and all that kind of stuff. They can hack into them and.
Yeah, I have some of those. I
And
can
it's
see,
good.
on my smartphone, I can see,
Yep.
which is really handy when you're gone,
Mhm.
as long as nobody else can see.
One quick thing on backups, Steve. So the only way to keep your backup secure, it's got to be physically unplugged, right? Because you can't
Yes.
you can't keep that protected if
Or
it's still
encrypted.
connected,
No.
right? Well, encrypted.
You can encrypt it too and then leave it plugged in so it's constantly backing up. But for most people, instead of getting into this whole encryption thing with them, I'll just tell them, plug it in, do your backup, unplug it before you use your computer again. And the best thing is you get it set up to do a backup automatically, just plug it in, give it an hour or so, it'll back up, and then unplug it, put it away. So even if you plug it in at bedtime, unplug it in the morning, and then use your computer all day, plug it in again whenever. And if you didn't add anything to your machine, if you haven't put a new bunch of documents, a bunch of pictures, things you want to save, why back up? You know, if it's still the same as it was 3 months ago, then the backup from 3 months ago is perfectly fine. So that's the whole thing. Yeah, it's a constant battle to keep up, and that's my day, is just tracking all this stuff and getting the word out to people of the easiest, cheapest way that they can protect themselves. And if you have any questions, give me a shout. If you want any of these notes and things to spread to people, you know, take one of my cards, send me an email, I can send you all this information. You can, you know, bore the heck out of your family at the holidays here.
Change your passwords.
Mhm.
That's a big thing.